What's up, Sushi Squad? We back again with some more Trove Delves, and finally, we have a Delves release date for Xbox One and PS4. My God, I mean, at least you guys didn't get it a day before the release. But I mean, they really gotta start doing a better job with this, don't they? So what we're gonna do today is we'll talk about the release date, and then I'll kind of give you guys a quick rundown of what you can end up expecting in the update, whether or not you guys have tuned into my other Trove Delve related videos or not. But lo and behold, the release date is going to end up being July 7th. So that's next Tuesday, coming up next week. After the weekend, we're going to end up having the Delves update live on Xbox One and PS4. That's awesome. Thumbs up, because this update is actually really cool. It does add a lot, and I'll try to kind of summarize that to the best of my ability, because more than likely I will probably not do like a full-on patch notes video or anything, because I've already done it before. You know, in regards to the Delves and stuff like that. And you guys don't want to just keep hearing more stuff about the Delves. Everyone, you know, that's been watching my videos and stuff is kind of sick and tired of watching the Delves, and I can totally understand that. I don't know whether or not you guys on console are going to get the latest build that we have right now on PC. I would assume so, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, this is Varos Club on PC, by the way. It's been a long time since I've been here, but I thought we would start today by chilling there, because apparently the club is having a resurgence of sorts. So anyways, before we get started with talking about the Delves stuff, I would appreciate if you guys are new to Trove, use that sign up link down in the description. And then anything you end up buying out of the cash shop, I'll end up making a percentage of it. It's an awesome way that you can support me by literally just playing the game, and yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Delves themselves. So the biggest thing that Delves is going to do for you guys is it's going to mitigate a lot of the lag on Trove. That's because what is one of the biggest factors of lag in Trove, not the only factor, but one of the biggest, is shadow towers. Because the way that shadow towers work, or used to work, depending on your PC or console or not, but today we're focusing on talking about console, even if I'm just playing on PC. Shadow towers, essentially, every time you would open up a portal, it would open up all 3 of the arenas and the boss room. All of that stuff would generate all at once at the same time, and it essentially would end up just taking more and more resources from the server. So what the Delves update does to shadow towers is quite literally butchers them. They barely have any rewards out of them anymore. When you open it, it doesn't have the Shadow Tower dungeons before the boss. It literally just opens the boss outright. You can repeatedly fight the boss over and over without having to generate a new world. You know, honestly, anyone who likes Shadow Towers, rip Shadow Towers. They're gone forever, pretty much, okay? And in its place, the Delves are going to show up. Now, the Delves are essentially going to end up being an infinite dungeon that is added to the game. There's multiple ways to end up doing the Delves. This is going to be where you'll access the public Delves, which is pretty crappy, honestly speaking. Trove doesn't really deal with matchmaking very well. But then you can craft a private portal where, as you've entered it and created the portal, you can invite anyone at any time. And then there's challenge portals, which are kind of the new Shadow Tower. So they operate is sort of similar, where anyone who ends up going into the portal initially can leave and get invited back, but you won't be able to invite random people. But challenge delves are definitely the big one that everyone's going to be focused on. Obviously, you know, if you're a lower tiered player, it doesn't matter what portal you end up going into. You can go into public, you can go into private, whatever. The thing that's nice is if you end up queuing up for a public portal, you'll see this icon in the top left, and that will not go away even if you go into other worlds and stuff like that. So you'll always just be in the queue, right? But essentially, Delves themselves, I mean, I've already got plenty of footage on them. You guys have already seen plenty of streams on them. But they are not only going to end up having a bunch of different new mounts that can drop from each of the Shadow Tower bosses, because the Shadow Tower bosses can randomly be spotted in the Delves areas. But ultimately, that's where you're going to get your Titan Souls, your Lunar Souls, all that stuff, Binding Darkness. Everything from the Shadow Towers has literally been lifted and thrown into the Delves, okay? So if you're worried about any of those resources, you can still obtain them, just not from Shadow Towers anymore, okay? And when you're going through the Delves, you can also have a chance of getting Crystal 4. Now, I already have tutorials talking about how you actually get crystal 4, you know, the depth and the floors and stuff like that. But the big thing that I do want to mention, the big change from Shadow Towers is, you know how when you go through Shadow Towers, essentially you open the Shadow Chest, and once per week, depending on the difficulty, you'll end up gaining like Titan Souls and Lunar Souls and stuff like that. All of that has kind of moved over to the Delves and been optimized. So there is no longer... there is a Delve Day, but there is no longer a bonus tied to Monday related to Titan Souls and Lunar Souls. So you can literally just go and grind Shadow Chest in the Delves any day of the week, and you'll still end up getting the appropriate amount of Titan Souls and Lunar Souls and stuff like that. But I've already got other tutorials talking about that, so I don't want to digress too hard. But in short, when you go into the Delves, there's going to be for every third floor, you're going to find a Shadow Chest, and you pretty much just keep on doing that over and over again until eventually you end up gaining the Lunar Souls. The other big thing is going to be this Delve workbench. So out of it, this is where you end up crafting all those portals I mentioned, but there is also going to end up being inert geodes. So inert geode is going to end up being a sort of new currency, and weirdly enough, the game also is going to end up having a wallet that you have. So think of it like Zelda Ocarina of Time, where you can invest, you know, your Skulltulas so that you can end up getting a bigger wallet so that you can ultimately end up carrying more rupees. I know that's probably a very obscure reference, but I figure that most people know Ocarina of Time rather than something like Trove. Ultimately, though, you will be able to see the limit that you can end up achieving by going to your crafted inventory items, or whatever this menu is called, the Flux menu. Yeah. So you can see I have the maximum wallet, which is 1,200. Sorry, man. But you'll be able to upgrade the wallet at this guy right here. This is where you can end up getting some mounts and stuff. These mounts and wings, more specifically, will be the only mounts that you'll be able to use while you're in the challenge delves. Otherwise, for public, you can just use whatever. And private, I don't know if they're affected by that or not. I don't really do private portals, honestly speaking. But yeah, the inert geode you'll just get from fighting enemies and stuff in the delves. You will also be able to end up getting a new type of cache or box, you know, a new delve box that you can get that can end up containing a bunch of different things. Most notably, there's going to end up being banners added to the game. So for those of you that don't know, banners are going to end up being another equipment slot that we've seen utilized here and there, but now it is utilized way more, where you'll basically equip the banner and it gives you various stat buffs. Most of all, you're looking at the light stat value, because all of the enemies in the delves are going to act the same as the geode surface enemies. So the topside enemies, how they have a light, you know, you have to have a higher light value in order to do more damage to them, etc, etc. So the deeper you end up getting into the delves, you know, the higher floor number, but it's deeper in depth. I know it's kind of a weird way of explaining it, but basically you go deeper, the number increases, and it's to an infinite amount, even though it's impossible to get to certain amounts just because the game scales too high, and then you can't complete the delves fast enough in order to end up getting deeper. But anyways, you can end up crafting a bunch of these light banners. Some of them you'll end up getting out of those new caches I mentioned. But the biggest one that you're going to be trying to go for, if you really wanted to be prepared for this, was the permatorches from the Leviathans that are located in U8, U9, and U10. It's very difficult to get, though, because it's an untradeable torch that you can get very rarely from a Leviathan. That is basically going to be a permanent one that you will... It basically won't end up extinguishing. So normally when you get a torch from a Leviathan, it lasts a day. Combine 3 of those, and then it lasts the entire week until the next weekly reset, or you get a permanent one. Good luck. If you've ever gotten a permanent one, you have no idea how lucky you are, or you grinded it like a crazy person, and you do know how lucky you are. But there's going to end up being a whole bunch of new allies and stuff. Each of the enemies, respectively, in the delves can end up actually very rarely dropping these allies and stuff. Ultimately, these are going to be the new best allies in the game, because they literally are just the same as the already strongest allies in the game, but they have light value to them, so they're definitely worth it. I don't even have any of these new recipes and decorative building junk. And then last but not least, the big thing, I hope I'm not missing anything, but I could be. Honestly, I've got plenty of our tutorials on it anyways. But the next biggest thing is going to end up being the Tomb Raider rework. So any of you that are Tomb Raider mains or always wanted to be a Tomb Raider main, but maybe you swapped off of him just because he was never any good, you can 110% end up maining the Tomb Raider if you want now, because the Tomb Raider he's pretty powerful. He's kind of second to the Draco-ish. So he's somewhere around like top 5. Like, I definitely think that he is a very powerful character. And personally, I find him to be a lot more fun over the Draco. But generally speaking, we're not really doing delves as much anymore. So I've just been using like Vanguard and other speed farming characters back in U10. So I already have a tier list video of the strongest classes for the delves and stuff like that. I do still have a long list of videos that I do intend to do for you guys that are completely unrelated to the delves and stuff. And I also have another video that I wanted to end up coming out today, but then I ended up hearing about this release date. Thankfully, you know, some of you guys let me know on Twitter that they officially ended up tweeting this out. Like, this is all official, the release date and everything like that. But anyways, hopefully this wasn't too ranty a video. I don't know. I'm a little bit out of it right now. I don't know why. I just feel nauseous, but don't worry, everything's good. It's just sometimes I procrastinate on recording because I don't feel 100%. And today's one of those days, if you cannot tell. I can definitely tell. I don't know if you guys can, but things are good. And I think that this is exciting and cool. Even though, you know, I've already got delves on the PC and stuff like that, I still am genuinely excited that the update is coming out for console for you guys, because it is about freaking time. Thanks so much for watching. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have yourselves a great day. Sign on and stay epic, everybody.
Believe in yourself.